Hello all. You might be wondering what is this symbol? Yes, liberation, tigers of Tamil Eelam, LTTE. This is again it is in the news because of a web series called as Family Man 2. So a lot of viewers or students, aspirants, they want to know about this LTTE. So today I am going to discuss about this organization, where the supporters of this organization called this organization as revolution, whereas antagonists of this organization call them as terrorists. So what is this all about? So why they are fighting earlier, why they fought, why they are silent now, what is their aspiration, what is their demand all about? That issue is LTTE, Liberation Tigers of Tamil Eelam, a movement, a revolution, a terrorist organization, freedom fighters, lot of names only for this organization. So what is this association about? What is this organization about? What is this liberation movement about? What is this revolution all about? What is this terrorist organization all about? I am going to discuss now. After a lot of research, lot of study, I came up with this video. I hope this video will be useful for you. Subscribe to our channel, click the bell button. So what is this all about? This all about is the land. This is all about the land. The land from this particular area to this particular area. They want a separate nation for this particular region. The northern part of Sri Lanka, the eastern part of Sri Lanka, and some parts of northwest of Sri Lanka, they combine together and they want to form one nation. Eelam means nation. Tamil Eelam. A organization to have a bifurcation within the Sri Lanka to form one nation called as Tamil Eelam, another nation called as Sri Lanka. And this Sri Lanka is dominated by Sinhalese, who follow the religion called as Buddhism, and this northern, which is dominated by Tamil people and Hindu religion. So this movement, this liberation movement, they work for the race of Tamil, they work for the Tamil race, the rights of the Tamil people. This movement, they just didn't ask for their own country. There is a long history. The northern Sri Lanka and the eastern Sri Lanka, they are subjected to discrimination, historical discrimination. Their language was not identified. They were not given citizenship. They didn't got the citizenship of Sri Lanka. Their language was not identified. The rights were not given. They were not allowed to get the government jobs. There were no public representatives from this organization. So they want to come out of these clutches. In the early history I am talking about. In 1948, the Sri Lanka got the independence from the British. So the local Tamilians who are living here, as well as the Tamilians who were been brought from Tamil Nadu into this part by the British to work in the tea gardens. So they came together, the Indian Tamilians and the Sri Lankan Tamilians. They were not given any rights. Their citizenship were not accepted by the mainstream Sri Lanka, mainstream Sinhalese population. The language was not identified, the people were not identified, the citizenship were not identified. Hence, a movement born, which is called as a movement, a revolutionary movement by the proponents of separate Tamil Eelam, whereas against a separate Eelam, they call it as a terrorist organization, LTTE. From 1948 to 2009, because of civil war, the total LTTE came to an end. So that organization I am going to discuss right now. Yes. So, the founder of this LTTE, Liberation of Tamil Tigers Eelam, is Velluppillai Prabhakaran. He is the person who founded this organization. LTTE-Liberation Tigers of Tamil Eelam, which is founded by the Velluppillai Prabhakaran, is the founder of this organization. The LTTE is a paramilitary organization. You know, this is the only organization, a terrorist organization in the world, which have its own air force. You know, for the first time, the suicide bombers, the innovation of the suicide bombers is from this LTTE. So much they were been committed, dedicated, or so much they were been brainwashed by the leaders of the LTTE. For the first time, the women entered into the terrorist organizations in this. For the first time, the children entered into the terrorist organization is this. A campaign since 1970s with the goal of creating a separate Tamil state in the northern Sri Lanka, a separate Tamil country which is called as Tamil Eelam in northern Sri Lanka, as I showed you in the map, known as the Tamil Tigers. These people who want to establish a separate country for the Tamils in Sri Lanka, they are called as Tamil Tigers. The terrorists are called as Tamil Tigers. Revolutionaries are called as Tamil Tigers. I am using the two notions. One is revolutionary, other is terrorist. Why? Because the people who don't accept LTTE, who don't accept Tamil Eelam, they call them as terrorists, and who accept the Tamil Eelam, they call it as revolutionaries. So I am using the two words. LTTE is notorious for introducing suicide bombers. The innovation of suicide bombers started from LTTE, Al-Qaeda, Lashkar-e-Toiba. They learned from this terrorist organization. In general and female ones in particular, the beginning has been from this particular organization called as LTTE organization. They have carried out more suicide attacks than Hamas, Al-Qaeda and Islamic Jihad. One organization, a small country, they conducted so much of suicide bombers. Means I want to tell you that, so these revolutionaries or these terrorists were being more of towards the formation of their own country called as Tamil Eelam. So they were been not stepping down with respect to giving away the ultimate sacrifice of life. They were been ready for the ultimate sacrifice of life for their target of formation of a Tamil country. It is a freedom movement for them. But for outsiders, it's a terrorist organization. Yes, it is a terrorist organization because they took violence as their means. That is the negative thing with respect to LTTE. They might choose peace. How India got independence by a peaceful mechanism. They should also, if they had took the peace as a means to get Tamil Eelam, then it would be not called as terrorist organization. But however, the ultimate sacrifices of these people to get a separate country called as Tamil Eelam is noted. They have carried out more suicide attacks. Members of the LTTE have domed Velluppillai Prabhakaran as a self-styled president for that particular Tamil Eelam region. Without any democratic procedure, only because he is the leader of that organization, he was being called as the president. They themselves declared that yes, Tamil Eelam is a separate country and we are going to have Tamil Eelam as a separate country and our Velluppillai Prabhakaran is going to become the president. So I will come up with the historical chronology. What happened? In 1948, the Sri Lanka, the Ceylon, the so-called Ceylon earlier got independence. From the British. Before that, the Tamils who came from Tamil Nadu by the Britishers, who brought from the Tamil Nadu by the Britishers for the sake of working in tea gardens, and the local Tamilians in Sri Lanka were been living by the time they got the independence. But immediately after they got the freedom, the government which formed didn't give any citizenship to the Tamilians. That started sparkling of triggering of conflict between the Sinhalese and Tamilians. This is the beginning of 1948. Citizenship Act was been made and citizenship was been denied to the Tamilians of Sri Lanka. The next event, what happened in 1956, the Bhadranaiki, the then Prime Minister, enacted a law making the Sinhali as the official language for Sri Lanka and alienating the Tamils. The Tamil language was been not given any status. Peaceful protests by Tamils started from this particular moment, 1956. The same thing also happened in India, where the triggerings happens in some parts of the country in South India against the Hindi language, but the government of India acted very proactively. The government of India acted very positively and took all the sections of the people into consideration and lessened the issues. Here the Sri Lanka failed and India was successful, because of which India's conflict was been not that much serious level as this. At this moment only, 1956, this person Bhadranayaki, he would had, if recognized Tamil also as a second language, there would not be any LTTE, there would not be a bloodshed, there would not be 1 million people dying. The state failed. The statesmen failed. The rulers of Sri Lanka failed. This is the beginning where the language, where the people were being alienated slowly from 1948 and 1956. Then what happened in 1975, 1957 to 1965? Pacts are signed between the government and the Tamils, giving them measure of regional autonomy and freedoms in language and education, but the agreement largely remained in paper. They promised, but they didn't implement it. They promised, but they didn't implement it. That is where the fault happened. The Tamilians were being aggravated. You signed, but you are not implementing. So for the sake of international platform, you are signing, but in reality, at the grassroots level, you are not implementing. The people were being aggrieved. So these are all the triggering points. These are all the triggering points for the sake of birth of LTTE. If this were been not happened, there would not be LTTE only. Then in 1970, a new constitution was being given to the people of Sri Lanka by the Sri Lankan government. Law making Sinhala Sri Lanka's official language and makes Buddhism the country's official religion, further alienating Tamils. So new constitution did not give any place for the Tamils, for the Tamil language. Buddhism was being declared as a state religion. Sinhala was being declared as a state language. There again further alienation of the language happened. Further alienation of the Tamil peoples happened. So the people, the aggrieved people, the agitated people. So what they will do? What the becharas, the Tamilians, they will do now? They will come up with movement. It might be you, it might be me, anyone. Why? Because they were being historically disadvantaged. They were being alienated. So the mistake happened in 1948. The mistake happened in 1956. The mistake happened in 1975 to 65 in spite of the agreements. Pacts happened. No one bothered about implementation. And finally, the last nail in that is this, the new constitution, 1970. The constitution came and high recognition and high identification were being given to the Sinhala religion and the Sinhala people, and the Tamils were being alienated. In this way, the Tamils were being aggravated, and they want some movement, they want some leader. As we know, the leader will burn from the revolution. The Prabhakaran was. Then 1972, Ceylon becomes a republic and is officially renamed the Republic of Sri Lanka. Vellubhai Prabhakaran forms the Tamil New Tigers group to set up a separate homeland called as Tamil Eelam. They tried to persuade the Sri Lankan government, Tamilians. It didn't happen. And this person, Vellubhai Prabhakaran, formed a new group with a name called as Tamil New Tigers group. And the name has been changed. Then 1975, Tamil New Tigers renamed as Liberation Tigers of Tamil Eelam, LTTE. The revolution began. The revolution began. The terrorism began. For Sri Lankan people, it's the terrorism. For Tamil people, it is a revolution. And the leader is Vellubhai Prabhakaran. Then 1978, LTTE proscribed as an illegal organization. The Sri Lankan government has it proscribed, means banned. Banned the LTTE organization and call it as an illegal organization. Then 1981, Jaffna was the center of Sri Lanka. Kilinochchi was the center of Sri Lanka. In the northern Sri Lanka, Jaffna became the center for LTTE. Riots happened in Jaffna. A state of emergency was being declared in Jaffna region of northern Sri Lanka. It was been acquired by the LTTE. It became the center of operations for the LTTE. Jaffna, Kilnochi, Tirukonamalai. Then 1983, first guerrilla-styled ambush started. From 1980s onwards, they started war against the Sri Lanka. Sri Lankan people tell that it's not war. If it is war, the battle will come and the battle will come against, they will fight. But that is not happening with LTTE. LTTE is a guerrilla warfare. They are targeting the persons, they are targeting the people. In 1983, first guerrilla-style ambush by LTTE kills 13 soldiers during Black July. Rioting erupts, killing hundreds of people, about 150,000 Tamil refugees. So refugees started from Tamil region. The conflict erupted and the Tamilians started becoming refugees from this northern Sri Lanka. This is the beginning. Then in 1987, the Indian government cracks down on armed Tamil groups in India. First suicide attack by LTTE kills 40. India-Sri Lanka peace accord signed, and India signed by whom? Rajiv Gandhi. India peacekeeping forces were being sent by the India to destroy the LTTE, supporting the Sri Lanka. It aggravated the LTTE. So the big mistake has been done here by killing the Prime Minister of India. By killing the ex-Prime Minister at that time and the future Prime Minister when he was being killed in 1991. They killed the Prime Minister of India, Rajiv Gandhi. That was the biggest mistake which was been done by the LTTE. If they would not kill the Prime Minister of India, there would be chance today also for the formation of the Tamil Eelam. That was a very big mistake made by the LTTE. Indian peacekeeping forces. 1987 it was been sent and 1990 withdrawn from Sri Lanka. 3 years it was there in Sri Lanka and killed LTTE. So LTTE want to take the revenge against the Prime Minister of India. Why? Because he is supporting the Sri Lanka by sending the IPKF, Indian Peacekeeping Forces in Sri Lanka. So in 1990, India withdrawn its IPKF. LTTE becomes a prominent Tamil armed group now. LTTE emerged as a prominent group. So, in 1991, the Rajiv Gandhi Prime Minister who was to become the Prime Minister is assassinated by a female LTTE suicide bomber. This has changed the history. This has changed the story of LTTE. This has responsible for the death of LTTE permanently. Then 1993, Ranasinghe Premadesa. We will be seeing in cricket Colombo, Premadesa Stadium. This person, on this person's name, Ranasinghe Premadesa. He was also been killed. Then President of Sri Lanka, he is killed in LTTE suicide bomb attack. The President of Sri Lanka was been killed. The Prime Minister of India was been killed. The Family Man web series want to kill the Prime Minister of India and the President of Sri Lanka at a time by the actress. On the same lines it was been made. Then in 1999, Chandrika Kumaratunga, a former Prime Minister and later the first female President of Sri Lanka, is wounded and she lost her eye by the LTTE. But in 2002, a Norway-backed ceasefire between the LTTE and Sri Lankan forces happened, but it was been not successful. And in 2004, the big jolt happened to the LTTE. The LTTE was being divided into two groups. Vinayagamurthy Burlitharan, also known as Colonial Karuna, commander for the Batakolo Annaparai, breaks from the LTTE, forming a pro-government outfit. LTTE got divided. This is a big mistake, and this is the second incident which is responsible for the failure of LTTE, the division among the LTTE. So this is the incident. He is the President Ranasinghe Premadesa when he was being killed by the LTTE. He is the person. In 1993 he was being killed. This is the body of the President. Few minutes before the blast, this person Premadesa killed by the LTTE. Our Prime Minister, the young Prime Minister, He was been killed in 19. This is the incident done by the LTTE. These terrorists are responsible for the death of the great leader, the visionary. Yes, the science and technology was been brought into India aggressively by this former Prime Minister. He was been killed by the LTTE. In 2005, Sri Lankan government LTTE signed post-tsunami worked together. Sometimes the Sri Lanka and LTTE forces worked together. Why? Because tsunami happened in 2004, December 25th. So, this both Sri Lankan government and LTTE worked together for the relief of tsunami in Sri Lankan borders, coastal borders. In 2007, LTTE Air Force attacks happened on the stadium, on the Colombo International Airport. The foreign minister was been killed. SP Tamil Selvan, leader of the LTTE political will, he was been killed, and the foreign minister of the Sri Lankan was also been killed. This major incidents. 2018, Sri Lankan government formally withdraws from the ceasefire with all the LTTE and they started war against the LTTE. And in 2009, the government claims the forces have captured the town, the major town, the Kilinochchi, the Jaffna, the Tirkonamalai, political hub of the Tamils, were been caught by the Sri Lankan forces and the LTTE came to an end. In 2009, the civil war came to an end and the total LTTE went underground. The leader Vellupulai Prabhakaran was been killed in this particular 2009 civil war, and he is a personality, Vellupulai Prabhakaran. He is a person who founded the LTTE. Tamil Tigers in 1970s. Vellupulai Prabhakaran, perseverance, patience, ruthlessness against the Sri Lankans. The foremost group in Tamil independence movement, mainly by eliminating rival organizations. All the rival organizations he finished off, only LTTE and the Sri Lankan government. They were in the war. He seeks himself as a role model. This person is very disciplined. He don't consume alcohol, he don't smoke. He himself is an example. People got influenced because of him. Vellupulai Prabhakaran. If Tamil Eelam would be formed, he would be the president of the Tamil Eelam today. But he was been killed in 2009 in the civil war. Black Tigers. Very, very like how we have the NSG, National Security Guards, the Black Tigers. Within the LTTE terrorist organization, some people will be recruited by the chief. Talaiva, they will be calling it as. So this person will be selecting the Black Tigers himself, who will be highly disciplined, who will be highly secular, who will be highly talented, who will be highly mentally alert. Those are Black Tigers. They themselves will become the suicide bombers. Their dress will be like this. These are the Black Tigers. In the Jaffna, the image was being taken in Jaffna town. These are the Tamil Tigers. Black Tigers. Exclusive, elite group within the Tamil Tigers called as Black Tigers. Innovating suicide, the special forces of the LTTE Black Tigers, selected from the regular ranks to undergo arduous, lengthy and specialized training. It is considered an honor to be selected as a Black Tiger. Tigers wear 3 tags, one for neck, one for waist, one for breast, for identification. Special respect will be there for these Black Tigers. To be selected, they have to be applied directly to the Vellupulai Prabhakaran, and Prabhakaran will be selecting them, Black Tigers. Considered to be the most effective, most successful, more intelligent group is Black Tigers within the LTTE. LTTE operations account for approximately 33% of all suicide attacks. 33% were been attempted by the Black Tigers. In all, dozens of specific targets have fallen to the Black Tigers. They maintained separate air force. The air force will be under the control of the Black Tigers of LTTE. These people are the Black Tigers who are marching in the Tamil Eelam region. Before 2009, she is a lady, former Prime Minister. I was being hurt. TIGERS, a women special force named as Sutanthira Paraivaikal. TIGERS, a special force for the women who will be trained, who will become the suicide bombers. Most of the women were been converted as suicide bombers here. The women's wing of LTTE is called as TIGERS, Sutanathirap Paraivaikal. The Sutanathirap Paraivaikal or freedom birds were formed in the mid-1980s, also called as freedom birds, asking for the freedom. The LTTE supports equal rights for women. Females are attracted to the freedom birds as a way of ending three types of oppression. One is Sinhalese sexism, huge sexual violence against the Tamil women by the Sinhalese forces. To avoid that, they joined the TIGERS. Tamil chauvinism means patriarchal system within the Tamil Eelam. And sexist caste, yes, woman means like this woman, this caste system was built. To come out of these three oppressions, they joined this social factor. Female LTTE operations began in 1987 and the number of freedom birds rapidly increased after 1990. And they believe that martyrs doesn't have the death. Children. This is a mistake. This is a mistake. Again, they recruited the children. This is the first terrorist organization in the world which recruited the children. The LTT and related groups are infamous for the use of child soldiers. Children were being recruited. UNICEF also told that don't recruit the children. The children were being recruited into the, yes, a child Tamil tiger. This is, the children were also being recruited. The women were also being recruited into the LTT. A great deal of, from where they are getting money, that is very important, no? The money is coming from the Sri Lankan Tamilians who settled outside the Sri Lanka and they are sending the money. By robbery, by theft, by smuggling, they are getting the money. A great deal of money comes from charitable donations, from Sri Lankans living abroad and believe in the cause, as well as those tigers who have to industrialize the nation specifically to establish business, to generate revenue, to pump the money for the LTT organization. By smuggling, by robbery, they used to get the money. But as of late February 2009, the government of Sri Lanka has regained control of almost all territory previously led by LTT. And the Vellupulai Prabhakaran died, LTT came to an end. In the wake of this territorial losses, the LTT released a statement saying that the international community must do everything in the power to bring a ceasefire so that the miracles or miseries of the Tamils are brought to an end. So the miseries which are happening to the Tamil Sri Lankans should end, and they have to make sure that the ceasefire should continue, no more killings of the Tamilians should happen, and the civil war should come to an end. The LTT asked the international leaders. By this, the LTTE came to an end in 2009, and this is the end of, so this particular territory is Kilnochi, Jaffna, Tirnokumalai. These are the places, main hubs. If the LTT movement would have been there, it would be a separate country today for the Tamil race, for the Tamil population. So this is the end. Everyone subscribe to our channel. We are coming up with general studies prelims cum mains batch. Very strategically, not for profit batch we are coming up. Please do join and know about it. Our videos are there in our YouTube channel. You can know about our program. Thank you.